voice of our Divine Mother. Our Divine Mother says at every moment, all the unforeseen, the unexpected, the unknown is before us. And what happens to us depends mostly on the intensity and purity of our faith. With always our love and blessings, says our Divine Mother. Sri Aurobindo's Savitri. Book 3, The Book of the Divine Mother. Canto 1, The Pursuit of the Unknowable. Page 345. All is too little that the world can give. Its power and knowledge are the gifts of time and cannot fill the Spirit's sacred thirst. Although of the one these forms of greatness are, and by its breath of grace our lives abide, although more near to us than nearness's self, it is some utter truth of what we are, hidden by its own works. It seemed far off, impenetrable, occult, voiceless, obscure. The presence was lost by which all things have charm, the glory lacked of which they are dim signs. The world lived on, made empty of its cause, like love when the beloved's face is gone. The labor to know seemed a vain strife of mind. All knowledge ended in the unknowable. The effort to rule seemed a vain pride of will, a trivial achievement scorned by time. All power retired into the omnipotent. A cave of darkness guards the eternal light. A cave of darkness guards the eternal light. A silence settled on his striving heart, absolved from the voices of the world's desire. He turned to the ineffable's timeless call.
The world is preparing for a big change. Will you help?
Words of our Lord Sri Aurobindo, taken from the collective works of our Lord SABCL, book The Mother with Letters, Chapter 7, True Relation with the Mother, subtopic, Special Relations with the Mother. Our Lord Sri Aurobindo says, it is certainly true that the divine has no preference or dislike and is equal to all, but that does not prevent there being a special relationship with each. This relation, however, does not depend on the more or less identification or union. The purer soul has an easier access to the divine. The purer soul has an easier access to the divine. The more developed nature has more lines on which to meet him. The identification creates a spiritual oneness, but there are other personal relations which are created by other causes. It is too complex for all relations to be determined by one cause. Yes, says our Lord, yogis whose progress does not depend on the personal intervention of the mother need have no personal relation with her, only the spiritual contact in distance. Some may have a special relation, but that is due to special aspects of their sadhana. On the other hand, one may have a personal relation with the mother even though no progress has been made in the sadhana. There are all kinds of possibilities in this matter. There is such a relation with all of those who have come here with the psychic sufficiently developed to the admit of the relation. In other cases, it is more a possibility than a thing realized. There are, says our Lord, roughly speaking, three parts of the being in manifestation which come into play here. First, the psychic being in evolution, which brings with it its past experience of past lives and something of the old personalities, so much as it can make helpful for the present life. Second, the present formation due to this birth and made up of many complex factors. Third, the future being, which in our case means the great lines of higher consciousness above the present manifestation, by joining which the transformation becomes more possible and the work attempted can be done. It is the psychic being which brings in the contact through past lives or personalities, that is, through something essential and still operative in them which it has kept. But in addition, some psychic beings have come here who are ready to join with great lines of consciousness above, represented often by beings of the higher planes, and are therefore specially fitted to join with the Divine Mother intimately in the great work that has to be done. These have all special relations with the Divine Mother, which adds to the past one. As for the present formation, it may obviously have elements which, not being joined or met with the Divine Mother, may help themselves feel strange to her. It is such an element which may feel standing in the way, but it is an exterior formation and does not belong to the past or the future evolution, at any rate in its present figure. It may either disappear or change. Lord Sri Aurobindo says, to launch into too many mental subtle ties in this connection is not very helpful. It is a subject which is beyond mental analysis, and the constructions of the mind about it are apt to be either very partially true or else erroneous. There is a universal divine love which is equal for all. There is also a psychic connection which is individual. It is essentially the same for all, but it admits of a special relation with each which is not the same for all but different in each case. This special relation, says our Lord, stands apart in each case and has in its own nature, of its own kind, and cannot be compared or balanced or measured with other relations, for each of these again is sui generis. The question of less or more is therefore perfectly irrelevant here. It is quite wrong to say that the Divine Mother loves most those who are nearest to her in the physical. I've often said this, but people do not wish to believe it because they imagine that the mother is a slave of the vital feelings like ordinary people and governed by vital likes and dislikes. Those she likes, she keeps near her. Those she likes less, she keeps less near. Those she dislikes or does not care for, she keeps at a distance. That is a childish reasoning. Many of those who feel the mother's presence and love always with them hardly see her except once in 6 months or once in a year, apart from the pranam and meditation. On the one hand, is this type of a devotee. On the other hand, one near her, physically or seeing her often, may not feel such a thing at all. He may complain of the absence of the mother's help and love altogether or as compared to what she gives to others. If the childishness simple rule of the three given above were true, such outbursts wouldn't be possible. Whether one feels the mother's love or not depends on whether one is open to it or not. It does not depend on physical nearness. Openness means the removal of all that makes one unconscious of the inner relation. Nothing can make one more unconscious than the idea that it must be measured only by some outward manifestation instead of being felt within the being. It makes one blind or insensitive to the outer manifestations that are there. Whether one is physically far or near makes no difference. One can feel it, being physically far or seeing her little. One can fail to feel it when it is there, even if one is physically near or often in her physical presence. Our Lord Sri Aurobindo continues to say, if the sadhak becomes unfaithful to the Divine Mother, it means that he did not want the sadhana or the mother, but to the satisfaction of his desires and his ego. That is not yoga. The mother meets nobody for hours. If anybody stayed for hours, she would be getting very tired. Mother has taken the body because a work of the physical nature, including a change in the physical world, has to be done. She has not come to establish a physical relation with people. Some have come here to share in the work, others she had called, others have come seeking for the light. With each, she has a personal relation or a possibility of the personal relation, but each is of its own kind, and no one can say that she must do equally the same thing with each person. No one can claim as a right that she must be physically near to him because she is physically near to others. Some have chosen personal relation with her, yet she sees little of them. She says some have a very less personal relation, yet for one reason or another may see her much oftener or longer. To apply silly mathematical rules is absurd. Your physical mind cannot understand what the Divine Mother does. Its values, standards, ideas are not hers. It is still worse to make your personal vital demand or desire the measure of what she ought to do. That way, spiritual ruin lies. She acts in each case for different reasons suitable to that case. True children of the Divine Mother, says our Lord, are those children who are the Mother's children closest to her, who are open to her, close to her in their inner being, one with her will, not those who come bodily nearest to her. If one has the close inner relation, one feels the Mother always near and within and around, and there is no insistence on the closer physical relation for its own sake. Those who have not had this should aspire for this, not hanker after the other. If they get the outer closeness, they may find it means nothing without the inner oneness and closeness. One may be physically near the Mother and yet as far from her as the Sahara Desert. Inner union and the external contact with the Divine Mother is the next subtopic. Our Lord Sri Aurobindo continues to say the spiritual union must begin from within and spread out from there. It cannot be based on anything exterior, for if so based, the union cannot be spiritual or real. That is the great mistake which so many of y'all do here. They put the whole emphasis on the external vital or physical relation with the Mother, insist on the vital interchange of physical contact. When they do not get it to their satisfaction, enter into all kinds of disturbances, revolt, doubt, depression. This is a wrong viewpoint altogether and has caused much obstruction and trouble. The mind, vital, physical, can participate and are intended to participate in the union, but for that they must be submitted to the psychic, themselves psychicized. The union must be an essentially psychic and spiritual union, spreading out to the mind, vital, and physical. Even the physical must be able to feel invisibly the Mother's closeness, her concrete presence. Then alone can the union be truly based and completed, and then alone can any physical closeness or contact find its value and fulfill its spiritual purpose. Till then, any physical contact is of value only so far as it helps the inner sadhana, but how much can be given and what will help or hinder, the Divine Mother only can judge. The sadhak cannot be the judge. He will be led away by the desires and the lower vital ego, as so many have been, in fact. When the vital demand is there, with its claims and revolts, and takes the desire for the exterior contact or closeness as a cause or occasion for these things, then it becomes a serious hindrance to the development of the inner union. It does not help at all. The sadhaks always imagine in their ignorance that when the Divine Mother sees more of one person than of another, it is because of personal preference, and that is she is giving more love and help to that person. That is altogether a mistake. Physical closeness and contact can be a severe ordeal for the sadhak. It may raise the vital demands, claims, jealousies to a high pitch. It may, on the other hand, leave him satisfied with the outer relations without making any serious effort for the inner union, for it becomes for him something mechanical, ordinary, and familiar. For any inner purpose, quite ineffective, these things are not possible, but they have happened in many cases. Our Divine Mother knows that, and her arrangements in this matter are therefore dictated by quite other reasons than those which are attributed to her. The only safe thing, says our Lord, is to concentrate on the inner union foremost and altogether to make that the one thing to be achieved and to leave aside all claims and demands for anything external, remain satisfied with what the mother gives, relying wholly on her wisdom and solicitude. It ought to be quite evident that a desire which raises revolt, doubt, depression, desperate struggles cannot be a true part of the spiritual movement. If your mind tells you that it is a right thing, then surely you must distrust the mind's suggestions. Concentrate entirely on the one thing needful and put away, if they come, all ideas and forces that want to disturb it or make you deviated. The vital assents to these things have to be overcome, for that the first thing is to refuse all the mental assent, for the mental support gives them a greater force than they would otherwise have. Fix the right attitude in the mind, a deeper emotional being, cling to that when contrary forces arise, and by your firmness in that psychic attitude, repel them. The inner and the outer mother. The outer and the inner mother is the next topic. Our Lord Aurobindo says, it is true that the mother is in many forms, but the distinction between the outer and the inner must not be made too trenchant, for she is not only one, but the physical mother contains all the others in herself, and in her is established the communication between the inner and the outer existence. But to know the outer mother truly, one must know what is within her and not look at the outer experiences only. That is only possible if one meets her with the inner being and grows into her consciousness. Those who seek an outer relation only cannot do that. I do not know how you are going to live into the manifested form. To live in the mother's consciousness, even to the physical, with the manifested form as a center of this unity, is possible. They will go on pulling you out of the true consciousness as they do now, and how they are changed if the mother's force is not there in them to change them. The true inner relationship with the mother is the next subtopic. An inner soul relation means that one feels the mother's presence, is turned to her at all times, is aware of her force, moving, guiding, helping, is full of love for her, always feels a great nearness whether one is physically near her or not. This relation takes up the mind, vital and inner physical, till one feels one's mind close to the mother's mind, one's vital in harmony with hers, one's very physical consciousness full of her. These are the elements of the inner union, not only with the spirit and self, but in nature. The connection is always there, in the self and in the psychic. But if there are obstacles in the mind and vital and physical, then the connections cannot manifest, or if it is all manifest, it is mixed with the elements which make it imperfect or unsuitable. The true connection is the psychic, the spiritual relation. The relation in other parts must be kept on the basis of this psychic spiritual connection, and then to make it permanent. The relation with the divine, the relation with the mother must be one of love, faith, trust, confidence, surrender. Any other relation of the vital ordinary kind brings reactions to the contrary to the sadhana. Desire, egoistic abhimana, demand, revolt, and all disturbance of ignorant rajasic human nature, from which it is the object of the sadhana to escape, says Lord Aurobindo.